Have you heard of Bracken's Painting? I started Bracken's Painting back in 2011. We do both residential and commercial painting. We have contractor's licenses in West Virginia and Virginia, and we carry all the necessary insurances like workers' comp, general liability. We operate a small staff that focuses on meeting the homeowner's needs and project managers' timeline expectations. We try to have exceptional attention to detail. If you're interested in doing any sort of commercial or residential painting, please contact Bracken's Painting. More information can be found at www.brackenspainting.com. Hello, Amber. Thank you for being on the Break It Down for Bracken's podcast.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you could join me sitting here in the sun in the COVID-19 studios. Again, if people don't realize, we are sitting outdoors. It's finally warm. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This morning, recording with Paul, it was like 35 degrees in the shade, and we were really paying for this social distancing. But Amber, let's learn about you. I have a lot of rumors about you in reference to your professional career and your work with Obama and the special operations cooking facility you worked in the Air Force.
Sure.
So like a special forces cook or something, right? But let's start with where are you from? Where'd you go to school? College? Family? Lay it on me.
I am from Michigan, a small town in the southeast corner of Michigan called Adrian. And I went to school, Adrian High School. Then after high school, I joined the Air Force. September 11th was actually my senior year.
Oh, okay.
So that was one of the motivating factors to going into the Air Force, that and looking at how expensive college was. So the GI Bill sounded pretty good.
Right.
So yeah, then I went to the Air Force, did 4 years active duty, transferred to the Guard after that, spent about 7 years in the Guard before I got out. But after active duty, I went back to Michigan. I went to school, went to college at Michigan State.
Is that in Ann Arbor?
No, that's the other one.
What's that one?
It's a rival school.
My bad. I'm
It's U of M.
My bad. Okay.
Michigan State's in Lansing, which is the capital.
Gotcha. So let's back up to the Air Force. You, what did you do in the Air Force?
I was in services for my entire time on active duty. So you do one of three things. You are either a cook, you work in lodging, or you work in the gym. So I was a cook, and I was stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base. It's in Montana. It is where our intercontinental ballistic missiles are, ICBMs.
I figured that, yeah.
So yeah, I worked out as a cook on one of the missile alert facilities. I was in the 490th Squadron. We were the Farsighters, so our closest site was an hour and a half away from base. And yeah, you would go out in a little fenced-in complex in the middle of nowhere, stay out there for 3 days, cook 3 meals a day for everybody, and then go back. And now sometimes if the manning was good, you have 2 days off, or if it was bad, you'd have 2 days off. If the manning was good, you'd have 5 days off between going out, so that was nice.
Why did you pick services as your job?
I did not pick services. I went in open general, which I know is a mistake. So it got picked for me.
I'd like to explore that more. How did you go down the path of picking open?
Because I wanted to leave quickly. I was just anxious to get out on my own and out of my hometown and explore and see what was out there, because 18 years of my life spent home,
small
one
town
area.
Michigan.
Yeah.
What other jobs did they say you were available for? Or you were just like, dude, just give me anything, just get me out of this town?
There was a couple other jobs I was interested in. One was visual information, which now is public affairs, but it was basically doing broadcasting videography.
Right.
That I was very interested in doing. But they said I would have to wait until like 6 months, I think it was, before I could leave. And I was just anxious to go. And
Sure,
so
okay.
that's why I was just like, okay, open general. And then I went to basic in July.
So, what do they teach you how to cook?
I don't know that they taught us how to cook per se.
Well, you had to have some sort of advanced
Yeah.
training after basic, right?
It is, yeah. In tech school, it was 6 weeks of training, and the biggest thing I remember coming out of tech school, just because I got a kick out of it and I thought it was really funny, was when you walked around in the kitchen, you had a knife in your hand, you had to walk around saying knife, 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 and that was just in
That's
tech
great.
school. Like we didn't do that. I didn't have to do that, but you know, safety and things like that they emphasized. And
God, I miss the military so much because of things just like that.
yeah, so that was one thing that just stands out in my mind. And then most of the stuff, at least when you were out in the missile field at Malmstrom Air Force Base, was, you know, a frozen burger you just slap on the grill or something like
Sure.
that. And really easy to make. You didn't have to have
That sounds like
great
it
cooking
sounds like a
skills.
relaxing job in the military. It seems like it was pretty easy to deal with.
Yeah, you're your own boss when you're out there because you're only chef. Your supervisors back on base all the time. They never post out. They're just doing the schedules and your EPRs and things like that. So
Cool.
nobody over my shoulder. I like that.
Yeah, so I guess pushing forward then, why is there a rumor that you were the executive chef for Obama?
Well, so after after base after active duty, when I went back to Michigan to go to college, I decided I was going to major in political science.
Oh, nice.
Public
Okay.
policy studies and political science. And there was an internship program, which I ended up doing my senior year of college. And you applied to the program. Once you got accepted to the program, then you could pick whatever internship you want. But the program itself was an internship of some sort in DC. It's called the Experiential Learning Program. So you go to class one night a week, and then you intern the rest of the week. And I decided I wanted to intern for Obama. And that was 2008, so you're talking height of the general election,
Right.
because it was fall of 2008 for me. And so I applied, and I actually thought I blew that interview because I was in the Guard at the time, and I cross-trained then from services into being a chaplain's assistant. So I was down in my tech school in Alabama. So when I had scheduled the interview, I didn't realize there was going to be a time change between where I was, Michigan, Alabama, because it's a different time zone.
Right.
So when they called, I was in the middle of class, and I had to excuse myself and call them back and tell them I couldn't do that interview at that time, and bumped it back an hour. And they were actually really cool about it and let me interview, and somehow got the internship after that.
And what did you do in the internship?
So part of it was walking around and giving tours to constituents.
Around
There
where?
were two ways to actually get tours at the time. This was before they had the new visitor center they have at the Capitol now. So everybody would stand outside if they wanted a tour from the Redcoats, or you could call up your senator's office or your congressman's office and ask to get a tour.
Okay.
So that was part of it. And then answering phones, and they'd only let you do that for like an hour because that's about all you could take, because those phones were ringing off the hook constantly, and a lot of them were campaign questions, which you can't answer
Right.
if you're working in the Senate, because the campaign had to be separate
Oh, yeah.
from the Senate,
Okay.
so we defer them to the campaign office. And then some of it was writing letters back to constituents, because that's a lot of constituents write in and ask questions or ask their senator to support a bill. That's what a lot of the calls were too, or if they had a question.
So at no point did you cook for Obama?
No.
Okay, that's one rumor
At no
we've
point
dispelled.
did I
then.
cook for Obama.
Okay. So you also weren't a part of his security detail either. So
No.
the rumors that you saved his life at one point is not.
No, those are false.
Have you heard of the Try This West Virginia conference? If you're somebody who is working to build a healthier West Virginia, then you should join the over 500 like-minded people this year at the 7th annual conference. It's in Buckhannon, West Virginia. This year it's on June 12th and June 13th. Go there to learn about grassroots efforts that are taking place from all around the state, from community gardens to yoga in schools, running and biking programs, and even maybe building a community recreation center. Once you've networked around the conference, there's also opportunities to learn how to apply for grant funding for a project in your own community. Enjoy 2 days of healthy food, physical activity, and mindful living. Register before March 15th for early bird rates at trythiswv.com/conference. Okay, and welcome back to the Break It Down for Brackens podcast. We just had a epic failure of battery life in my recorder, so we've actually lost track of what we were even talking about. But we're not starting over. We are starting back with dispelling the rumors about Amber. So, like I said, at no point were you on the security detail for Obama. Is that correct?
Correct. No, I was not. I don't know why people like to exaggerate the things that I do.
Well, we mentioned it as I was replacing the batteries. She was filling out a questionnaire for a Hash House Harriers naming celebration for herself. And as if you've heard the Hash podcast, the hour and 43 minutes of us getting tanked together, we broke down the fact that you answer like a 7 or 8 questionnaire thing to get to know you while they pick up that's how they decide what your hash name is going to be. So Amber wasn't totally sure what to answer with the questions, and
Well, I was like, I haven't done anything that interesting, so...
that's exactly what you said.
Yes.
And as we're running, we start picking her brain and found out that she was with the Air Force, and then she runs pretty fast, so you start to lose your breath and you start to lose track of the conversation. Then it turned into she worked for Obama on Air Force One, right? Oh, okay. And then, like, apparently she almost took a bullet for Obama because, like, you know, she was the executive chef at the time. Anyway, these stories just kept coming out of this run. I was like, wow, what a wicked, interesting person. And then, like, she was on some sort of special chef detail in Montana. You know, that's got to be all kinds of spook stuff out there. That's where we keep all of our missiles. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to dispel the rumors. We're trying to find out what's true and what is false. So, to be clear, were you on Air Force One?
No.
Okay, so you never got on Air Force One.
No.
Did you did work for Obama?
I did intern for Obama. I did fly on what would be the First Lady's plane, but not with her. That was a completely different thing. It was just flying from Andrews Air Force Base to a TDY in Michigan.
The First Lady has her own plane?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really nice. What's that one called?
It didn't have a special name, but it was really comfortable. It had a couch and really comfortable chairs.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
So how long did you intern?
It was just a semester, the fall of 2008, that semester. So like I said, it was the height of the general election. So
Amazing.
Obama was not in the office. He was out on the campaign trail.
Right. Okay. So then let's jump forward. Now all of a sudden, well, I guess you graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Was the internship right before your graduation?
Yes.
Or then you moved to DC, or?
Yes. Yeah, February of the following year in 2009, I moved to DC. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. I just packed some stuff up, moved there, crashed on a friend's couch for about a week, found an apartment, still didn't have a job. Eventually found a job, kind of did a temp job, bounced around, did a couple of odd jobs before landing a job at the VA, which is where I still work. Yeah.
In DC.
In DC at the time, yeah.
Nice.
I don't work at the VA in DC now. I work here in Martinsburg.
Yeah, I was going to come to that. So how did you end up out this way?
In 2016, I had asked if they hired more positions in the job I was working at the time out in Martinsburg, if my supervisor would consider transferring me out here before she hired somebody. And she ended up hiring somebody in Martinsburg, and I was like, whatever happened to when I asked you if you'd consider me before you hired somebody? And she was like, oh, I forgot. She's like, well, I could still transfer you out there. I don't really know how to do that. And I was like, well, I know somebody who just got transferred out there, so why don't you ask his supervisor how he did that? And that afternoon, I had my transfer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But you didn't have a house out here yet?
No. Actually, before all of this, even the transfer or anything came down, I had been looking. I'd been working with a realtor and looking out here at houses. Yeah, kind of when I make up my mind to do something, I start planning for it.
Wow, okay.
So, it wasn't super serious. And then when I got the transfer, I was like, oh yeah, now I need a house out there.
Okay, so what year was that?
2016.
2016. When did you find Bros and Bras?
I think it was 2018, I want to say. I'd heard about Bros and Bras before that, but I was working in a job where I did shift work, and it just, the schedule was really tough to make it out, because if I worked a swing shift, I'd be working when you guys were on a run or something. So it was when I stopped doing the shift work that I started coming out to Bros and Bras. And Colleen Farrell is actually the one who brought me out for my first run. She works with me at the VA, and I just met her through a mutual friend, and we were talking about running, and she was like, well, I'm going to go out this Tuesday night if you want to come out, because it's nice to know somebody when you go to these things, so you're not a complete stranger.
Right.
And so I ended up showing up to a run. Did about 4 miles, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about your running background.
So my running background is I'm a sprinter.
Okay.
That is my background. I started running or competing and running in middle school track. My first event I ever ran was the 800-meter dash.
Wow. A dash. You don't dash at 800 meters. Jeez.
That was my first run. And I remember being really nervous about it because I didn't know anything about running track or competing, and I was just before that, I could run, but I remember not even knowing what an 800 was. My dad came out, it was a home meet, and my dad was there, and I was like, Dad, the coach told me I have to run 800 meters. What is that? And in his true math teacher form, he was like, well, 1,600's a mile, so what's half of that?
Of course.
So it's only 2 laps. Okay.
That's cool. And then high school?
Yeah. And
what were your events then?
So my freshman year of high school, I think I did the 3,200 meter relay. I did the open 8. The 1,600 meter relay,
these
and
aren't
maybe
sprints. These aren't sprints.
400 middle distance.
Well, yes, it's middle distance. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after that, I didn't do the 800 after my freshman year. I ended up doing the 1,600 meter relay, the 400, the 200, and the 800 meter relay. And in high school, I started running cross country, and it was basically as a way to keep in shape for track.
Right.
I didn't know if I'd be any good at it because to me, as a sprinter, they tell you you're going to run a 5K, you're going to be doing 3 miles. I'm like, miles? 3 miles?
Yeah, come on.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I could do that.
That's what every sprinter or hurdler says they do cross country just to stay in shape, but they're bitter about the distances.
And it turned out to be fine, actually. They used to, if we would be doing any interval type of training during cross country, they get mad at me and they'd be like, "You stupid sprinter," because I would be faster than everybody in the intervals.
Of course.
But,
So did you run in college?
I did not, no.
Because that was after the military.
Yeah, so I kind of stopped running when I joined the Air Force, ironically. After basic training, they make you run a lot in basic. So it was after basic that I stopped running. Stationed me in Montana was really cold, and I don't really like to run in the cold.
That's right. I remember hearing that too.
Yeah. So that changed this year, though. I've been running all winter long. But
Well, that's great. That's good. And I appreciate any training that Amber does because she's on my team for a few races. We're teammates. So I'm happy you're training. That's good. It's going to make you a better teammate down the road.
yes.
So first time you came out was a Tuesday run. Was that when we were doing tacos? Tuesday?
Yeah, it would have been Taco Tuesday.
Did you come out to tacos afterwards, or did you just scoot
I don't
out?
think I did stay for tacos afterwards.
Okay.
Not that night.
Who'd you meet when you came?
I met Bacon. I met Jack. I know there's a couple other people there. I don't remember who all was there, though.
Well, how was your experience, though?
It was fun. Everybody ran together that night. I mean, we don't always all run together, but everyone was running at the same pace and having a conversation, and there was no pressure. Because sometimes when you come out to group runs, you know, like, there can be uber competitive people.
Right.
And it can be intimidating, but there was none of that at all with Bros and Bras.
Yeah, the like if you go to a running group like in Reston, even Leesburg sometimes, but like in Arlington, whoa.
Yeah.
Like there's a pecking order for sure.
Yeah.
We don't have that in Bros at all. At least I don't think we do. I hope we don't.
No.
Yeah. So have you met any friends in Bros?
I've made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your crew?
So I didn't really know a lot of people at the time either, other than the people that I worked with. But since becoming part of Bros and Bras, I've, you know, made friends for life.
That's so cool.
Made a family. So yeah.
That's so weird. You can hear her smile when she says that. And dude, as the Bro Actual, the original, like when I put 9 people together, I never ever would have envisioned a connection that people are getting 5 years later. It really is amazing. Who's in your squad? So if you go out or if you're going for a run, who do you want to see there?
I guess the usual people, you know, Bacon and Jack and, of course, Jen Blumberg. Yeah. We've become really, really good friends.
She's supposed to be on this podcast anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime now. As soon as she's ready. Talking to you.
Yeah, we went
Blumberg.
running yesterday, actually. She wanted to go run with the Harper's Ferry course, but not when everybody else was doing it. She didn't want to get up that early, so we went out later.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. What fitness accomplishments or achievements have you had since joining a group? Or have you gone outside your normal, like, what you would normally be doing?
Yeah, I have. So, like I said, I kind of stopped running after high school. I'd pick up a couple of runs here and there. But it was tough because my last mindset was high school, where I could just wing it because I was, 15, 16 years old. And you can still get by without, working too hard at it, I guess. And then when you take a long break and you try to get back into it, as you're aging, you realize it's hard. Running is a lot harder than I remember it being. So that was kind of...
Wait, so when you came to Bros, you were starting back into running?
Yeah, like I said, I had done it a couple of times. I pick up a couple of races here and there. When I was in DC, I did the Army 10 miler one year. I would do some of the Crystal City 5Ks.
But you weren't training?
But I wasn't training. I would just go out and like run these races. I did train for the Army 10 miler a little bit, but not the way I should have. Because it's really tough to do it.
It's 10 miles.
It's tough to do it without other people, because my experience in running had always been on a team, on track team or a cross country team where you have other people out there running with you, pushing you to go faster. So it's just really hard for me, I guess, to self-motivate to go out there and do it on my own. It's always better for me to do it with a group of people, even if I'm not running with those people, to know that they're all out there doing the same thing makes it easier.
That's the accountability, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So, yeah, when I came to Bros and Brawls, it was getting back into it, and my first year, I just ran in the warm months. I just ran when it wasn't cold out. So then this past year, April of last year, I was basically starting all over. And I did Race with the Birds and Harper's Ferry, and neither of those races had I been running a lot before. I'm going to hold on. I'm
actually going to keep those races close to my heart.
Uh-huh.
Because that was the last time I beat you. And Amber was around my speed a year ago. And that was the last time I think we went head-to-head, besides the Christmas race. I never even saw her during the Christmas race. But whenever somebody finishes near me, and she finished like 2 positions behind me, I was like, I got to keep my eye on this girl because this is who I'm going to gauge my racing. And now you've trained so much that I know I'm nowhere near as fast as you. So I have to let you go at some point. But I will say that I got to beat you once. And I'm going to hold on to that scoreboard. From my memories. Yeah. So if you're starting over in April,
yeah,
what happened? Like, how did you excel?
I just kept running. I would show up for like every Tuesday and Thursday run in the summer, and then the hashing started, so I was running on Wednesdays as well. And then I think it was, I don't know if it was early last year, or late the year before, Jen had said we should do the half marathon at Freedom next year. So I did my first half marathon last year in 2019.
How'd that go?
And that went well.
Nice.
Yeah, so we started picking up some of the Saturday runs to get ready for that and do some of the longer distances. And I actually like the half. Now everyone's trying to convince me to do a marathon. I haven't been convinced necessarily to do that.
Who's trying to convince you?
2021. Bacon's trying to convince me to do that one.
I believe in those circles we call that being brochuled.
Yes. So
why? Why would he twist your arm towards a full?
I don't know why he wants me to do one.
Jeez. I've done a couple fulls, and I don't have the time or discipline to train the way you're supposed to train just to finish one of those comfortably, much less efficiently.
That's been my concern with it, is I don't know that I want to put in that much training. And run those extra miles that you have to. I mean, the half's kind of a perfect distance. You don't have to do too much training.
I totally agree. You can mail it in, or you can train hard and get it done. Mm-hmm. I think that's totally doable if you're a accomplished runner. And we both can say that, because when I say we can mail it in, I can do a half marathon without training for it. It'll be miserable, but I can get it done. But the Freedoms is a really, really awesome half, I think. I've never run it. I've only done the full or the 10K and the 5K, but the half, from the way it seems to me, is just a prequel of hills before the final 5K, which is where the actual race takes place.
Uh-huh.
So from Sharpsburg all the way to the finish line, the hills are behind you, and you're just there to actually race at that part. Like I'm a racer at heart, man. I just love racing. So struggle through the whole prequel, because who's passing who on the hills? Go for it if you're that guy. But
I'm
me.
passing people on the hills.
You are a very strong hill runner, though. I'm not sure what secret you've got going on there that makes you strong. What is it? Tell us.
A strong will.
That's it?
Well, if I know that most people slow down on the hills. So in my mind, like, that's where I can catch them.
That's where you attack.
Yeah, because I'm not slowing down on the hills.
Well,
Okay. Depending on the hill, though. Freedoms, those hills are rolling hills. There's like a little break or a little dip in those hills, so those hills are easier to run. I'm actually nervous about doing Harper's Ferry's half, and that's why I joined the half marathon training group with Inga, because I was nervous about that, because those hills, there's no break. They just go up.
It's true. It's true. I've run that one 2 times, and it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Flat out. It's just pretty tough. But it's doable. You'll be really strong out there. You'll see. Do you have any time expectations that you're going for? Goals?
I'm not sure with Harper's Ferry, because that'll be my first time doing it, so it'll be my base that I'll set, I guess. I'll figure it out after Harper's Ferry.
Are you doing any specialized training to prepare? Like, what is Inga doing to make you prepare differently than you would otherwise?
So the only things that I did for Freedoms was run what we ran with the group. I didn't have a plan. It was just run X amount of miles. And it wasn't running for times. There was no interval training. There was no tempo training, none of that. And so we're doing all of that with Inga. So I hopefully that helps. I don't know. I'm getting a lot more miles in than I was when I was training for Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing hill work, doing hill repeats, those sorts of things with the group. So
That's outside of your normal training routine.
yes, because I have no training routine on my own.
Gotcha. Well, Amber and I are both on, she's on my mercenary team going to Colorado. If Ragnar doesn't cancel that race or postpone it, we're supposed to fly out there sometime early June.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to be running pretty legit climbs. Like the kind of climbs that just don't even stop. Fortunately, when they're over, they're actually over, and it's all downhill, but it's just like this and like this. It's almost like a pyramid. Each climb is up, get to the top, down. Are you doing anything specialized training to prepare yourself for? I know I've tried to encourage you to do some training, but are you doing anything?
I am not so good at the strength training side of things. So in Inga's group, we do have Tuesday nights, which are they tend to be hill training nights or a tempo run night, and then we'll follow that up with some strength training exercises. I started doing a functional fitness class on Monday nights at Moving Mountains Yoga.
Oh, cool.
Kentucky Pam has got me into going out to that one.
Functional fitness? What are they doing that?
They're doing that at Moving Mountains Yoga. They start at 5:15. It's an hour long.
Yeah, but what are
class.
the exercises?
They're just it changes up from month to month to month. This month we were doing with March Madness some different like jumps. So we have like a 4 or 6 pound ball, and you're jumping from one side of the mat, jumping up, then go into a squat, then jumping to the other side, up and into a squat, those types of things. I don't really know what half of these exercises are called. Sorry that I can't name them, but
No, that's cool. No, that's really good. I mean, I paid for like a 10-pack at Moving Mountains Yoga about a year and a half ago, and I've used one.
So if there's a functional fitness class, maybe I should scoot into that and go try it out, because I've got paid for them. I just don't get there much. Or if I do go, it's on a Friday.
Huh.
Well, cool. So are you one of the people who's done longer distances than you planned because of being part of Bros and Bras?
Yeah. I never thought I'd do a half marathon. Actually, when I first came out and started running with Bros and Bras, I was like, 5K is my limit.
Right.
And, you know, then I was like, okay, I'm going to try this half marathon, see how that goes. And we'll see if I end up doing a marathon. I don't know. I feel like as you age, maybe each age as you go along, you should plan something epic for that age. I don't know, when I turn 40, maybe I'll do something crazy.
Aren't you lined up for an ultra with Jenny?
Richmond, Ragnar.
Yeah.
So there's a break. It's a little different than doing straight
I don't agree.
50K or something.
I do agree. I do agree it's different, but it's equally hard. Because the breaks can actually be the hardest part to adjust to. So getting out there and just running for 6 hours, 7 hours to do an ultra is one thing. But being able to do hour and a half, 3 hours down, hour and a half, that's a different type of race. Well, that's good. Which Ragnars have you done? Here comes Jenny and Travis. They're sneaking into the COVID-19 studios.
Keeping a safe social distance. Hi, Amber.
Hi.
Talk about running hills, Amber.
We already did. What Ragnars have you done so far?
I have done Appalachia, West Virginia, which is West Virginia's.
Which team are you on for that?
I was on Melissa Kerr's team for that.
Nice.
And I have done Bourbon Chase. Yeah, those are the two I have done. And then I was signed up to do 4 this year. One's been postponed, my first one, Richmond, which was supposed to be the Ultra. That one's been postponed.
I just realized something. I'm on this immortal path to do 12 in 1 year.
Uh-huh.
And not that Bros and Bras is competitive, but some of us are. Even though I compete with Amber, she's not really competing with me. Because she said she was signing up for 4 and potentially 5. And then other people were saying that they were going to pull down 4 or 5. At the time, I had the highest count of Ragnars in 1 year, which I think was 3 or 4. I'm not going to be dethroned. So I was like, oh yeah, Amber and others, you're going to try and do 4 or 5 Ragnars? I'm just going to go see if I can do it immortal. And in true Ragnar form, which I'm sure you've had things go wrong at Ragnar's. Bourbon Chase, you guys are literally short like half the team. So
Right.
that's something that went wrong. Anything go wrong in Appalachia? Any surprises?
Not really. We had really great weather because previous years people have said it gets muddy and crazy on that course and it always rains, and it did not rain. It rained Thursday night, but not any time during the run. So it was pretty ideal as far as weather was concerned. But it was also my first Ragnar, and I mean, I guess I did cross country, but a cross country course is different than running trails, so it was really my first trail running experience. So, yeah, I came away from that a little sore.
Right.
Not used to that, not used to having to dodge roots and rocks and
Bounding
things like
from
that.
big rocks
so,
to small rocks.
yeah, you're having to run on your toes. Certainly makes your calves sore.
Sliding on your butt on some spots.
Yeah, my only running on toes was a sprint for
Right.
200 meters before that. And this is, you have to do that for, 4 miles, 6 miles.
Ragnar will get you. It really will. Because I always say, I've done something like 13 or 14 of them now.
Huh.
And as prepared as you think you are, or as ready as you think you are, and as good as you think your tent is, there's always some sort of Ragnarian karma that comes down on you. Like, my first Immortal race was Miami this year, and I got down there, and 2 of our 4 members didn't show up. 2. And I wasn't intending on taking any extra laps. We found someone to fill in and to help out. So it all kind of went down fine. But there's... the other thing that was weird was that they... when we go to Ragnar's, we get there hours before the start. Or we get there like the night before and there's camp and everybody's kind of settled in. This crew that I was running with down there, they're out of like Atlanta or maybe Tennessee. I'm not sure where they're from. We arrived 18 minutes before the first runner was going out. I was like, I'm not used to this kind of rodeo. I'm used to a little bit more. Everything's ready. Everything's in place.
Yeah.
But the Ragnar karma that I'm dealing with right now is that the year that I decided to go immortal, frankly inspired by you, Amber. This is the COVID-19 year, so all the races are being postponed. If I don't pull 12 in 1 year, I don't get immortal.
Uh-huh.
So I'm literally 1 to 2 cancellations away from, like, if they actually cancel or postpone and double book me in the fall with the Colorado Snowmass one, I'm just gonna throw in the towel. I'm gonna go do my races, but I'm not gonna go after immortal anymore, just because Ragnar punched me in the stomach. You know.
I mean, you still have more races, though. Or you still have more races than anyone.
Oh yeah, I'll cap out at like 25, 26 on the grand total.
I mean, for the year.
Oh, for certainly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying to retire from Ragnar. I'm trying to put these to bed. With Bacon doing his dumb captain's team, that forced me out of retirement. And then you saying, "Oh, I'm going to do one more than Kevin Brackens did." I was like, "The fuck? No, you're not. No, you're not. No. I might not be able to beat you in a half marathon or a 5K anymore, but I am going to hold on to some of my trophies. I'm going to hold on to it." So we'll see. But then, like, Jenny's like, "Oh, you'll do immortal this year. I'll do it next year." I was like, if Jenny's going to try and match me on immortal, then that means I got to double up on immortal. I'll do that again next year. So, not that I'm competitive, but I am a little competitive.
You know, you actually, I think it was you. You came out to, I don't know if it was a Tuesday or a Thursday run, but you said something at one of those runs. You had mentioned the Berkeley 5K. You're like, I'm gonna beat you at that. And I think you flipped a switch in my brain.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I told you I was going to beat you, and I was going to train, and you had a reckoning coming. And at some point, I knew I was not going to get enough training in to have even a. I was supposed to PR that race, like that was a plan, because another guy challenged me, John Bonbright, said we're both going to PR there, and neither one of us. I don't think he even showed up, but I know I didn't PR, and the course was shortened, but. When I did incite that competition between you and I knew I flipped the switch, and I really saw your training amplify, because I watch anybody that I'm trying to race. I'm watching how they're training. You really started training harder, and you really started getting faster. So I just played psychological games the rest of the time, making you think I was training, or really convincing you that I was still going to beat you.
Well, I was just trying to convince myself that you hadn't flipped a switch, that I wasn't getting competitive, because I was like, this Frozen Ross thing, I'm just going to fly under the radar, and I'm not going to be competitive. And then you flipped the switch.
Good. I'm so happy that I did, because you never know. I could still be training. I could be significantly faster than you right now, and you wouldn't even know it, because I won't even show it to you until it's time. And that's where the psychological games come into play. I could really be fast right now. Just no one's seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so let's see. What other questions are there? The final question we know, which is, if there was somebody, or if you heard that there was somebody who was nervous, who might be listening to this, and they were nervous to come out to Bros and Bras, what could you say to them to inspire them to get there, or to let them know it's okay to come out to Bros? What would you tell them?
Just that it's a really laid-back group. You'll make a lot of friends, that there's... It's not that competitive thing that sometimes you have envisioned that runners are. Everybody runs their own pace, and someone's always going back out to get people to, from that nobody left behind mentality. So it's just a fun group to be a part of and to be social with, because there's more than just running that the group does together too.
Social, that's a good one. That's something we haven't really talked on much. You, this year we had our first, or maybe our second, I can't remember, official homecoming weekend. And just like it is in high school or college, it's actually a homecoming. Our big game is the Freedoms Run race series, which is a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon. The night before the big game, we go out and we have a heck of a social, a bar crawl actually in Charlestown, where most people go home early. Many of us stay out way past when we should be because it's a race the next morning. After the race, there's an after party at the Bavarian Inn, which is the kickoff for us to then go to brunch. Is that what we did? I think brunch was on New Year's.
No, we did brunch the following days.
No. Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Sunday?
So Saturday is the race, and then Saturday night is the formal. We actually had a formal where we vote for king and queen. You were the Bros and Bras homecoming queen.
Yes.
How incredible of an experience was that?
That was fun. I mean, my first half marathon capped by homecoming queen, and that was cool. My brother was in town too. He had run, and
That's right.
he did the 5K, and I think I'm convincing him to come back again. He wants to do the half this year at
Very good.
Freedoms.
Are you faster than him?
No,
Okay.
no, he's faster than I am. Definitely.
But that was a heck of an event. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that this is a group, like you were saying, that it's a laid-back group. There's some fitness. There's no expectations. You
No
run as much-
judgment, no expectations. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, that's how it feels when you come out and you run. Nobody is judging you, and there's no expectations, and that's what made it easier for me to get back in to it, because nobody's expecting me to perform at a certain level.
And then the thing is that in the beginning of this conversation, you said it's like a family. It's like a side family. That's magical, man. It's magical that you can have that kind of an experience with a group that's free. It's got some T-shirts, and volunteers where you meet up and go for a run or a walk, and that inevitably have a homecoming party, and then we have like a New Year's, and then we sometimes produce our own 5Ks, and then it's a hell of a group. Like, there's just so many fun things going on. And you missed the early years when I was putting in like 35 to 40 hours a week on it, and we had like scavenger hunts downtown. We had to run around all the businesses, and they all knew you were coming. And we had the actual headquarters in that little meeting space we had in Charlestown. Like, that was a totally different time. But even now, bringing people together like you and Jen Blumberg and
Yeah.
everybody who enjoys your company, it's just it's a really magical group like that. And I would hate that people would be intimidated thinking we were all fast, or you're only following what you're seeing on social media, because a lot of times it's the success stories that you see on there. But
Yeah, no, I mean, after Tuesday's run, everybody goes out for tacos. After Thursdays, everybody goes to abolitionists.
beer
so
and pizza, yeah.
It's social. Everybody gets to know each other if you hang around for those things afterwards. And it's usually people want to do something outside of the group or just with another person. It'll happen there. Be like, hey, we're doing this on Saturday. Jack will be like, I'm going on my motorcycle ride somewhere you want to go, and it just happens like that.
Yeah. Okay, so to wrap up, let's confirm rumor versus truth. So you did not save Obama's life.
I did not.
Okay. You were not Obama's executive chef.
No.
Okay. You were not Special Forces cook.
No.
chef. Okay. You did work in a nuke farm where you cooked for people.
Yes. Malmstrom Air Force Base, on a MAF, a missile alert facility. And where I cooked for people. I cooked for the cops and the missileers and
Is that a word?
the facility
Missileer?
manager.
Missileer is a word?
Missileer is a word. Missileers. They wear like flight suits and they go down into a hole deep in the grounds where they would launch the nukes from.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
You did not cook on Air Force One.
No.
No, okay. But you were the Bros and Bras homecoming queen
Yes.
for 2019. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, cool. I think everybody's been set straight. Did we miss any of the rumors?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because those were fun to carry around for a while and spread. I personally believe I might have been the main culprit for spreading all the wrong rumors, but I just enjoyed them because every time she would tell us another fact about herself, I just would embellish.
Yes.
And that was fun. All right, Amber. Well, thanks for being on the Break It Down for Brackets podcast. It's been nice getting to know you better.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by City National Bank in Ransom, West Virginia. I am Melissa Knott and manage both of our Jefferson County locations. Our Charlestown location is located on George Street in Charlestown, and the Ransom location is located in the Potomac Marketplace Shopping Center. City National Bank is a full-service community bank that provides an array of financial services. We offer a range of free checking accounts and savings products for both consumer and business customers. City National Bank offers competitive low-rate and low-cost lending products for both business and personal needs. Come and talk to me or one of my team members and get products and services that are tailored to fit your schedule and help you to achieve your financial goals. I can be reached at both the Ransom and Charlestown locations. Check out our website at www.bankatscity.com.
Today's intro song is called Mean in a Good Way. It's written and performed by Peter Clark off of his album Peter Clark After Dark. Peter describes this song as being the best song to learn hula hooping to. Peter is an avid hooper and recently started a hula hoop repair business. If you ever need hula hoop repair, consider contacting Peter. You can reach him on SoundCloud. Just search Peter Clark After Dark.